Hi there and welcome to another Coast Box Office Administration video. This is going to cover some advanced event advertising, and in particular when you have an event that is happening at multiple locations. So it may be an on-tour event, and this is where you just want to advertise bookings at a particular site and you don't want to list every single exhibition of the event. You just really want to promote the run at different locations. So we can see here we have this event called Velvet Rewired. It's happening at the Sydney Opera House and also at the Civic Theatre, and we can see that what we've got here is we've got two exhibitions. Now normally an exhibition is traditionally just one single event, one single date, time, and we can then go and book it. But in this case what we're doing is we're advertising just two exhibitions, or like two virtual exhibitions, and each of those represents a show run over a date range at a particular venue. So this one here, this is the 22nd of December to the 5th of February, happening at the Sydney Opera House. And this one here is from the 19th to 23rd of April, happening at the Civic Theatre. And when we click on this one here, it'll take us to the booking for the Sydney Opera House, which is what we want. And we click on this one here, it will take us to the booking for the Civic Theatre, which is exactly what we want. So how do we go about setting this up? Well, we can also see that it has the appropriate branding. It has the next venue shown here. Once this venue expires, it'll start to show us a Civic Theatre here. It shows us both brands involved in this particular event. So if we click on Edit Event, what we'll see is that we look under Promotion. We can see the promotional events here. Dates are not shown. You can see that this is just the first run to the 5th of the 2nd, and these are being overridden on the actual listing because we have exhibitions. And we'll look at the first exhibition, and this is something that's slightly new. We can see the exhibition run is from now normally we wouldn't put an exhibition in. We would just use the promotional dates of the event and just push people off to whatever link. But this is where we can extend the functionality of those promotional listings without having to sell tickets on Coast Box Office and without having to list individual date, time exhibition. So this is the first exhibition, and you can see that normally it would just be the date, which is 22nd at 8 o'clock, but this has actually got an end date, and normally when you're putting in an exhibition, the exhibition date will be the same as the end date, meaning it's starting and finishing on the same date, and we have a start time and a duration. But in this particular case we have an end date that is after the start date, and we also have our start time as unknown. And if we flick that switch, it tells the system that we don't actually have an actual time when we're starting. So we're going to ignore showing times. And we have this one here happening at the Sydney Opera House. And if we go to our promotional tab, we'll see that we have our promotional run from the 20th of December until the 5th of February, which is when this one here finishes, the end date, right? So and then we have it at the Jones Sutherland Theatre, and there's our link that sends people off to buy the appropriate tickets. So that's the first exhibition, or at least exhibition run. And we can see down here where it's now showing us the run, it's showing us TBA and where it is. So if we click on the second one, the second exhibition, we see a very similar sort of thing, but it's for a different date range. Again, the time is TBA, and that's kind of important to do unless it's like, you know, every day between that and you actually want to put the time up. But invariably we've got different times. We've got matinees and things like that, and there's nothing to stop you from putting each individual showing in and linking it through to your tickets. But this is just a quicker way of actually putting a whole run in and just say, hey look, if you want to book this event during this time frame at this location, then we can just do it with one single exhibition. And this is the brand, is Civic Theatre. We don't worry about all the rest of the information. It's obviously confirmed, and our promotional run takes us up to the 23rd of the 4th. It's always good. The system will, as you modify these dates, will modify the start and end promotional dates for you, but it's always good to check. Sometimes if you don't see your your exhibitions turning up, it's because your promotional run is not currently valid. And we're at the Civic Theatre, and there's our link to the actual Civic Theatre booking site. So this is slightly different from a standard exhibition, when if we just go and add a standard exhibition here, I'm not going to put it in, but this has actually acquired the details of the previous one. Normally it would be the same start and end date here, 8 o'clock, and it would be like that. and it's at the Sydney Opera House, and that's our single exhibition. So this is something that's new. Previously we didn't have this functionality here. Each exhibition had to be a single date and time, but now we can create like a virtual exhibition which is just for a range, and that's how it shows up in the system here. We can say it's going from this Thursday through to April 23rd, and that date range that covers both exhibition runs, both venues. It says Sydney Opera House, but as soon as and it says Joan Sutherland Theatre, but as soon as we finish the first one, this information here will automatically click over to the Civic Theatre, as is the case with the actual listing, where we do see both brands, but in terms of the actual venue down here, this will click over to the Civic, and obviously this top one here will actually disappear, and only the valid range will continue to appear. But the listing itself will continue to be valid right through until the 23rd of April, and that's something that's new in the system. It may sound a little bit complicated because now there's basically 3 or even 4 different levels that you can have for advertising. You can simply just have a date range and no exhibitions at all, and we simply just click on the tickets link, which will take us through, in this case I think, to the Opera House, which is what we would expect. We can start to put exhibitions in, and if we don't actually want to put one for every, like we've got a long run, it's going for like 100 shows, maybe we don't want to put the full all the exhibitions in. There's no point. Let's just have one exhibition that covers the date range and takes us through to where we can book tickets. Or if we do want to, as is the case with a lot of other shows, we have an individual exhibition for each actual date and time, and they can then push people to where they get tickets. And obviously, of course, if you are selling tickets on the platform here itself, each one of those has to be will only be for the date that is on there, and they buy tickets because you're selling tickets on the platform, and you can only buy tickets for a particular date and time. That's it. That's what's new with exhibitions. Thanks.